Hello, namaskar everyone to my YouTube channel, The Uncut Room, where we daily discuss one editorial. And today is the 5th of January 2026. We are going to discuss the Hindu editorial, which is mainly based on the recent Trump Venezuela strike. The heading of this editorial is Tragedy and Farce. So let's move into this editorial and get what the author want to convey. So basically, the tragedy has followed every act of imperialism by the USA, but under the President Donald Trump, the consequences have also taken as a farcical character. So basically, a farcical means something very absurd or mockery. So that is a typically of a theater of a absurd. So whenever the USA take any action to act on the imperialism. Imperialism means the establish hegemony or basically a king. So that is always become a tragedy. But under the Donald Trump, that become not only the tragedy but also a partial character. So, author gave an example. Basically, in 2003, the invasion of the Iraq is also happened. That on the false premises that they will remove the dictatorship and they will export the democracy. But instead of these things happened, the actually the state divided into a subparts and they give a birth of ISIS, and we know that is a Islamic state in Iraq and Syria, and because of that organization they destabilized the West Asia. So the same playbook was used later in the North America also, North Africa also. So now in 2026 the world is witnessing the same incident, the another tragedy, that is also a farce, a repeat of an imperial script in the Venezuela. So that same script is happened in the Venezuela also. That is orchestrated by the Trump administration. So here the orchestrated means something very planned or completely planned by the Trump administration. And what they are doing, they are completely bombing campaigns and the naval blockades. So, and now the apprehension and the forced exile of the Venezuela president, that is Nicolas Maduro, is a flagrant violation of a international law and also flouts Article 2 of a UN Charter. Now, what they do, they forcefully exile. Exile means remove from their country forcefully the president of the Venezuela, and that act is now a violation of an international law. And also, there's a one UN Charter that also violate the Article 2 by conducting the interdictions of the oil tanker, illegal killing of civilians, boat in the Caribbean water under the unproven guise of the anti-narcotics operation. The US has bypassed the UN Security Council to position itself as a judge and executioner. So what the USA continuously doing, they continuously bombing their country, they exile their president. Apart from this, they also taking action of the anti-narcotics operation they told, but they do not have any proof. And apart from this, they also killing a very innocent civilians there. So these things bypass the UN Security Council, and now the USA become giving the judgment and the execution, giving the judgment and the execution taken by the same person. So the USA taking a position itself as a judge and an executioner. The intervention is driven by a familiar calculus. So the intervention, the things which is done by the USA, that is a very familiar calculation. Means the thing is do by the USA previously also. The first is the resurrection of the Monero Doctrine to reestablish the US hegemony in the America. So there is a resurrection means there is a revival of a Monroe Doctrine. So there is a doctrine which is basically articulated by USA president at that time, that is 1823, and the main objective of that doctrine is um, in the North America or the South America, complete American hemisphere and the western side, USA will be influence all the country. USA hold the all the power. So that is the something in the doctrine. So as a order to regimes such as Venezuela sought to append through the alternative alliance with the Cuba. So USA, so basically Venezuela making some another alliance with the Cuba. So that is the one problem. Other one is the second is the desire of a severe several Latin America ties with the China. So what they want to cut the ties of Latin America country with the China as because recently Venezuela is looking to for eastward for the investment purpose. And third one is there's a very huge crude oil reserves in the Venezuela. So USA paying all these things as a price for USA business which they want to do in the future. So in this case USA claims a victory which could be a Pyrrhic victory. So basically USA will also lose a lot in these actions. So while Maduro governance has an authoritarian, so as we know that that is a very huge support, the United Socialist Party in the Venezuela, and having a very strong base. Apart from this, there is some USA previously giving us a support elite regime in the Venezuela by providing a huge money. Because of this, there is some inequalities also happened. To tackle these things, there is a one movement that is Bolivarian movement rose to tackle the rampant of the inequality. So by forcefully installing a new order, the US is not liberating the people but validating their fear of colonial looting. So now the people of Venezuela are having the fear that some powerful country come into their country and they ruled them. So now the USA validating that fear by doing these type of actions. So that is the hypocrisy is a start. That is completely hypocrite, and that is a very obvious which the USA is doing. While the Trump administration justify Maduro's removal by labeling him as a cartel leader. So basically, cartel is a group of a leader who is doing a like the USA claiming that there is some drug trafficking is there, and that is under the Maduro's government. So he completely remove him. On the other hand, if you see the hypocrisy of the USA, they remove basically release a narcotics trafficking convicted former leader of the Honduras. So, and here he released one leader who is who is convicted in the narcotics actions, while on the other hand they are capturing their on-sitting president. So that is something which is very hypocrite. The author want to convey. On the other hand, the hope that is globalized after the Cold War. So after the Cold War, there's a every world are interdependent, and they want ki globalized will be there, independent world will be there. But because of USA, the action which is taken by the USA and Russia, that is belied these actions, belied these things. Yet the withdrawing from the climate accord, escalating tariff wars, the USA has signaled a contempt of international norms surpasses other rigorous acts. So basically, these acts, including USA climate accord, USA withdraw from the climate accord, and we have seen they apply a lot of tariffs on the countries like India, China, and some more other countries as well. So they are contaminating contempts the international norms as well. So what the author want to convey that the Venezuela invasion and the natural violent conclusion. So there is some international community will be there, and if they remain silent, so their sovereignty exists as the Washington pleasure. So otherwise Washington will be taking action if they does not work accordingly. So there is some international community should take the appropriate actions on time. So now I will like to conclude this editorial, and now when you will read this editorial, that is more easy to you to understand the vocabulary as well as the understanding of this editorial. Thank you.